Ever wonder what really separates the super successful from, well, everyone else? Today, we're going to dive into the mind of a guy who literally makes a living betting on success, Shark Tank's own Kevin O'Leary. We're breaking down his direct, no-nonsense blueprint for building wealth. So let's get right into it. But first, let me ask you something. That daily coffee you buy, that little luxury you tell yourself you deserve, what if that's the one thing, the biggest obstacle standing between you and real financial freedom? It sounds like a simple question, right? But according to Mr. Wonderful, the answer is the key to, well, everything. And for anyone who might not know, Kevin O'Leary isn't just some TV personality. This is a multimillionaire investor who puts his own money on the line, betting on entrepreneurs he really believes can win. So, his advice isn't just theory. This stuff is forged in the fire of real-world business. And when we say he's successful, we're talking about a net worth of around $400 million. So yeah, when a guy like that lays out a set of rules, it's probably a good idea to listen up. He built a massive fortune by following these exact principles himself. All right, so here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to cover how to master your money. That's the absolute foundation. Then we'll get into how to master yourself. That's all about the mindset. Third, we'll look at how to master your business. And finally, we'll tie it all together into a really clear blueprint you can use for your own success. So let's dive right in with part one, master your money. And look, O'Leary is dead serious about this. If you don't get this part right, nothing else you do is going to matter. This is the non-negotiable, absolute starting point on your path to wealth. He boils it down to 4 core habits. First, just stop buying what he calls unnecessary junk. Second, you got to destroy, not just pay down, but destroy your credit card debt. Third, automatically invest 10% of every single paycheck you get. And fourth, maybe the most important investment of all, you have to invest in yourself. O'Leary's point is that our whole society is basically designed to make you spend. Now, the number on the screen is an extreme example, but think about something more common, a $5 coffee and a $15 lunch. That's $20 a day. That adds up to over $7,000 a year. That's not just money you spent, that's a future you literally traded away. Just imagine investing that money every single year instead. Okay, now for his second rule, debt. Why is he so obsessed with getting rid of it? Well, it's because of numbers just like this one. The average interest rate on credit card debt can get as high as 25% per year. That's not just an expense, people. That's a financial anchor, and it's dragging you straight to the bottom. Think about it like this. Even a legendary investor like O'Leary says a great year for him is an 18% return. Meanwhile, your credit card company is getting up to 25% from you, and it's guaranteed. You simply cannot outinvest that kind of debt. It's a losing game. The key takeaway is simple. Pay it off right now. So, once you get your financial house in order, we can move on to part 2, master yourself. This is where the real work begins. It's about forging that internal mindset, the psychological armor you're going to need to actually succeed out there in the real world. I want you to just imagine this for a second. You've just finished your MBA, you're feeling on top of the world, and your professor gets up on stage and says this. That's exactly what happened to a young Kevin O'Leary. He said the whole auditorium was just stunned into silence. I mean, what a brutal, shocking thing to hear. But why would he say that? Because the professor's point was that your degree, your qualifications, they're just an entry ticket. They don't mean anything without action. The real world doesn't care one bit about your potential. It only rewards what you actually go out and build, create, and achieve. Your real value is defined by your experience and your results. Period. So through all of his investments, O'Leary has identified 5 traits that he says all successful people share. First, ambition, a deep, burning desire. Next, self-respect, an unshakable belief in your vision, especially when no one else has it. Third, a willingness to learn and listen. He always says you should listen twice as much as you speak. Fourth is patience, just understanding that real success takes years. And finally, the ability to start again. Because you're going to fail, that's inevitable. But quitting, that's a choice. So how do you put that mindset into practice? Well, O'Leary shares this simple but really powerful hack he learned from a CEO. Every single night before bed, she would write down the 3 most important things she needed to get done the next day on a Post-it note. And when she woke up, those were her only focus. No email, no calls, no distractions, not until those 3 things were done. It's a simple little system for staying ruthlessly focused and beating decision fatigue before your day even gets started. Okay, now we get to part 3, master your business. This is where you take that financial discipline and that millionaire mindset, and you apply it to the real world of entrepreneurship. These are O'Leary's rules for actually getting things done. And to really illustrate his point, O'Leary tells this great story. A university student who had a software business, already making $5 million a year, asked him for advice. His girlfriend had given him an ultimatum. She said he spent all his time on his studies and his business, and he had to choose the business or her. So what should he do? O'Leary's response was just classic Mr. Wonderful, cold, logical, and definitely provocative. He just asked the student, which is more easily replaced? Now, his point wasn't just to be harsh. It was that an entrepreneur who's working 25/8, that's his term for working more than around the clock, needs a partner who gets it and supports that ambition. The wrong partner can be just as damaging as the wrong business plan. So what are his rules for entrepreneurs who are actually looking for an investment? It's 4 things. 1. Explain your idea in 90 seconds. If you can't, you don't understand it well enough yourself. 2. Prove you can execute. Ideas are cheap. Execution is everything. 3. Know your numbers, inside and out, cold. And 4, this is a new one he says is totally non-negotiable in the modern era. Pair your business with a social mission. O'Leary says this has become absolutely essential over the last few years. Customers today, they don't just buy products. They buy into brands that share their values. Companies that have a real mission to do good in the world build incredible loyalty. And as a result, they do incredibly well financially. And that brings us to the final section, your success blueprint. So let's tie all of these lessons together into a simple, actionable framework you can actually use. The blueprint is crystal clear, and it follows a really logical path. First, you master your money. This is your foundation. Without it, you will crumble. There are no exceptions. Second, you master yourself. You have to cultivate the ambition, the patience, and the resilience to win the long game. And finally, you master your business by executing with total clarity, a deep understanding of your numbers, and a purpose that actually matters to the world. So, we'll end with this question for you. After hearing this whole blueprint, what is the one single thing you can change tonight? Are you going to cancel a subscription? Are you going to write down your 3 priorities for tomorrow? Or maybe reevaluate if your life is truly aligned with your ambition. The path starts with just a single step. Which one will be yours?